Overall, I'd say the real winners of this movie are Samantha Bond and John Cleese. I think they have a great send-off. I think that moment with Moneypenny in the end, that's a fun little joke to end your stupid movie on, because that's the last we see of Samantha Bond and John Cleese.
Yeah.
You know, this sort of behavior could qualify as sexual harassment.
How romantic. You'll just have to decide how much pumping is needed, James.
Someday you have to make good on your innuendos.
Oh, James. To the job in hand.
Moneypenny?
I was, just testing it out.
That's rather hard, isn't it?
Yes. Very.
Nance, you had an interesting take on that. You had an interesting interpretation on that final scene.
I'm curious if this is the first hint that Q is gay. So we see Bond earlier in the film do some sort of training exercise. VR video game, something someone coded, presumably Q, a scenario for someone to go through as a training exercise.
A pre-programmed scenario like a video game.
You don't just put on the goggles and imagine a scenario. It's a scenario you enter, just like, you played the Halo campaign and it's a story you go through.
Gotcha.
So Q coded a situation where Bond
comes in and fucks you.
yeah. Sure, he says Moneypenny, but like that's a simple line of. I'm not a coder, but that is a simple line of code where it's just like enter username.
The point being that there's that moment where Q's like, "Wait a second, did she find my secret?"
She's in the make out with Bond
fantasy.
scenario.
Like, how'd she find that?
Oh no,
that's an interesting fan theory. And that bridges the gap to Daniel Craig, but it's a fun send-off for those two characters as opposed to Bond himself, Pierce Brosnan, who unfortunately didn't get another chance.
I felt like the way this movie ends feels very abrupt. Within this main story, there's an ending. They survive the helicopter crash. And then it just cuts to the sex scene, and that's the end of the movie. Compared to like other movies where I feel like it was more tied into the rest of the story with like maybe like M and Q finding him with Jinx.
Yeah.
You know, something like that. But that we don't get that. And so that's just, this movie feels like it ends very, like it just feels like the brakes were put on it at the very end of it. And it's kind of like, that's kind of sad because Brosnan was the guy that like came into it and was like, I am a fan of James Bond. Like I want to do really good by this character. And it's just sad that like the last movie that he gets just happens to be like this very farcical movie that he gave his all. And then like the ending of it is just very abrupt. End. You know what I mean?
And we'll see moving forward, the unfortunate thing about that, what you just laid out, is that this isn't just the end of Brosnan. This is the end of 20 movies. This is the end. And it's just him with shitty-ass Halle Berry with diamonds. And I mean, if it would have been like she quits and I quit and we're going to go live in Jamaica with diamonds, it'd be like, oh, that's kind of a fitting end to this character we've been following since Dr. No.
Yeah.
You just finished up with Daniel Craig. He's not doing any more movies. You're in the process of finding a new Bond. Why not do a one-off with Pierce Brosnan right now? Because you did it with Sean Connery with Diamonds Are Forever. You did that already. You brought him back to do one more. Even after going the George Lazenby route. Why not do that with Pierce? Right now, while you're looking for the new Bond. Yeah. Pierce Brosnan is still alive, and he's still fit as and he's still delicious. Bring him back for one final movie and cap off the 20, make it 21 initial Bond movies, and then Daniel Craig is a separate thing entirely. But like, let's cap it off. Let's do it right. Let's give him a send off, and don't just do it for Pierce. Do it for all the Bonds that came before, because this is all the same character. I'm reading a book right now called The Authorized Biography of James Bond. Like, do that and have it star Pierce Brosnan, and then maybe have like a younger version of him doing like action flashbacks and all that. It's this story about this writer who's contacted by the British government. And it's like, we want you to make a biography for James Bond. And he's like, I thought James Bond was a fictional character. They're like, nope, he's real and we can introduce you to him. And then he meets with Bond. He's like, holy shit, this is a real James Bond. You could do that with old gray Pierce Brosnan, and you could make a fun project out of that to cap off these 20 films. And wouldn't that be a great thing to do while you're looking for for number 7, for the 7th James Bond? Wouldn't that be an appropriate thing to do?